Welcome to another episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. Last week's episode featured two interracial couples who spoke about the fear of raising biracial or Black children in America.
I've had people say to me, how can you consciously bring a child into this world of mixed race, knowing the difficulties that you will bring upon them?
But it's a whole nother thing when you have to think about the child that you're gonna bring into this world that's gonna navigate this world as a biracial person. That is a whole nother door that you're opening up.
Well, let's open up that door. I'm joined now by Jamie and Aaron Ivey, white parents of a transracial family. Jamie, I was scrolling through Instagram a few days ago, and I saw a picture that confused me. I looked at this picture and I saw a Black girl, a Black boy, a mixed boy, a white boy. I was perplexed. I texted you and I said, what is going on here? And you said, well, Emmanuel, this is my family. Lovely to have y'all both, Jamie and Aaron from Austin, Texas. Jamie, can you introduce us to your family?
Yes, so we've been married 19 years. This is our oldest on the end, Caden. He's our only biological son.
Okay.
Next is Amos, who was born in Haiti and joined our family at age 4.5.
Okay.
Next is Deacon, who was born in San Antonio, and we have an open adoption with his birth mom, and he's been with us since he was born. And last but not least is our only girl, Story. She was also born in Haiti, and she came home she was almost 2.
Got you.
So that's our family.
Got you. How are y'all? Nervous?
Good.
Nervous, yeah.
I love it. Aaron, as the patriarch of this household, I have to ask, why did you all choose to adopt Black children when you could have adopted European children? You could have adopted Asian children. You could have obviously adopted white children.
Yeah. Well, after we had Caden, we knew that we wanted to adopt, but we didn't intentionally adopt Black kids. So we didn't go into it of like, we want to adopt this kid from this country. We were just open. We were open-handed.
I mean, I would say when we walked into that adoption agency and they said our greatest need is someone to adopt Black and biracial boys, and we're like, okay, that sounds great. Like, I would say that we would have said we were colorblind. Mm-hmm. Like, we would have just been like, what does it matter? Who cares? We're like, we'll love any kid. So I don't think we understood what it meant. We did not have any idea what it meant to be a Black person because neither one of us are Black.
Story, how, I guess, awkward is it, and correct me if that's not the right word, when you're introducing your friends to your parents, but your parents are white?
It's hilarious. When my friends would come over, they would say, wait, these are your parents when they aren't looking? So I would be they would come upstairs in my room and they would go, those are your parents. And I'm like, yeah, I was adopted. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
We live in a small town outside of a suburb, outside of Austin a little bit. And I think one of my greatest fears with having Black children is wondering what people think about my kids.
Yeah.
Wondering what they think about them, meaning what?
Always wondering, what do these people out here really think about Black people? Because I think white people can be like, oh, I like Black people. But do you
What are you saying?
What are you saying behind closed doors when Colin Kaepernick takes a knee, or when George Floyd is murdered, or when Ahmaud Arbery is killed in his neighborhood running? What are you saying then? Because to me, Ahmaud is Amos. Amos runs in our neighborhood all the time. Mm-hmm. That scares the living daylight out of me.
Do you all fear for your Black children's life?
Yes.
Every day.
Yep.
Amos, what do I always tell you when you go out places?
Go with a brother.
You can't ever be alone.
Amos, let me ask you this, because we brought up Ahmaud Arbery, who was hunted and essentially killed. George Floyd, his life was taken from him. When you see those Black men get their lives taken, be murdered by white people, does it make you feel any differently about your white family?
No. It makes me scared, but they love me, but I don't think they'll ever want to do that.
What about white people in general?
Yeah, I get scared, in public or something like that.
Why?
I don't want that to happen to me.
Story, I see there are tears in your eyes. Why?
It's just sad to know that somebody might do that to people that look like me or Amos just because out of hatred of our skin color. It's just sad that someone would want to do that. It's scary about I might lose a brother, or I might lose my life, and then I don't want to leave this family, and it's just sad that people would do that.
Wow.
We know this has been happening for centuries. This is nothing new. It's not the first time a black man's been murdered at the hands of a white man in power. So I'm thankful for the video. I mean, every time it happens, I call my friend Andrea. She's a black mom raising black boys. And I'm like, I'm so scared. Yeah. And for me, I think I've only understood this fear for 15 years. Black moms have been struggling with this fear decades after decades.
Story is tears were in your eyes because you were fearing for your black brother's life along with your own. I just want you to know that I understand that pain. I acknowledge that pain. I too live in and have lived in that pain and in that fear. And that's why I'm just grateful that you would have this conversation so that everyone else can see the pain and the fear that you have to live in on a daily basis, that Amos has to live in on a daily basis, that Deacon has to live in on a daily basis, that I have to live in on a daily basis. But don't let that fear weigh you down, but instead continue to have conversations like these so that you can encourage so very many people. Yeah, someone asked me, they recently said, Emmanuel, they asked me via email, they were a white woman and she adopted black kids, and she said, how can I maintain my black kids' blackness? She said, how can I make sure that my black kid stays black? And I wanted to answer this, not only obviously for you all in this conversation, but for those watching, it's simply, you're black by birth. If you come out the womb black, then you're black. You don't lose your blackness. It's not possible. Now, what can occur is to lose your black culture. What can occur is to lose your black heritage. I'm reminded of Tarzan in the jungle. Tarzan was a human, and he was always going to be human, even if he grew up amongst animals, even if he grew up amongst apes. And I think that if white parents aren't careful, then they can strip their black child's black culture and black heritage from them, even to the point of Tarzan wasn't actually Tarzan's name. Tarzan in ape language, as the movie has it, means white skin. I think about my name, Emmanuel Acho. Chinedu in Igbo language, Nigeria, where my parents are from, means God guides me. Now, growing up, everybody called me Manny. Manny doesn't mean Emmanuel, doesn't mean God with us. Manny sure as heck isn't Chinedu, as my parents would say it with a Nigerian accent. So whenever my parents call me by name, they call me Chinedu to remind me of my heritage. And so I think it's a matter more so of, you can't maintain blackness, but you can maintain black culture. Other people ask me this question, which I'll quickly ask y'all. White guilt. It has obviously been a huge thing, not only over the last decade, but very pressing right now. Would you all say, Jamie, that white guilt played a factor in you adopting black and biracial children?
No, because I'll tell you this, I think 15 years ago, I wouldn't have understood that term white guilt. So 15 years ago, these conversations, I wasn't having.
They didn't happen.
Yeah.
I wasn't having them. I know you were probably having them. We weren't having them.
Why?
Because we're white.
And we didn't have to.
We have that privilege, and we don't have to have these conversations. I think that's been one of the most major things that's happened in our life. I won't speak for you, but for me, with having a family that looks like ours, is that I now had to come face to face with these conversations about what it is to be black in America, what white privilege is. I'd never heard that word before in my entire life.
I remember when we first started adopting, people would say like, man, thank you for what you and Jamie did. And we were just always like, what are you talking about?
Why were they thanking you?
Because of that,
Like,
because
it's
of the
so
white,
nice
the
that you're
white guilt, white
adopting
privilege
a-
thing. It was all white people saying it. Like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Oh,
what you
yeah.
guys did is so amazing. Thanks for saving the world. And for us, we were like, no, you don't understand. Like, they changed us way more than we feel like we've changed anything, because it's forced us to think deeply about conversations in the world.
What we've learned is proximity matters. And so if you're white in America and you don't have any friends who are people of color or fill in the blank of anything that's different than you, you don't have to face those challenges and those realities. You get to turn the TV off. Yeah. You get to not look. But we don't ever get to not look anymore because these are my
These
babies.
are people.
I love it. Well, let's go to your babies. Caden, you are the oldest. You are white. Now, the world tells you so much as a white person about Black people, right? The world tells you hip hop culture, movies, which you've told me that you love and you want to start creating. It tells you a lot about Black people. Well, with growing up and in growing up with Black siblings, Amos, Story, Deacon, what have you realized is a lie that the world told you?
Maybe like all Black people are like gangsters. But like obviously not, because I mean we don't live anywhere like that, and it's like different because Black people are so much more than that. Like they're themselves. So like Amos, Deacon, and Story, they're their own people. You know, Amos is Amos, Deacon's Deacon, Story. They have like their own personality, what they like, and it's just like if most people could see that, like everyone, we're all the same. We're all humans, but we're all different. You know, we all have different personalities. We all like different things. It'll bring more people together, I guess, that there's not like a split difference between what white people are like and what Black people are like.
Deacon, you might actually have it the hardest because you're mixed and people don't really understand the struggle of being mixed. And when I say struggle, what I mean by that is, are you white, are you Black, or are you mixed? When somebody asks, what do you consider yourself?
I'd probably say Black.
Yeah.
Like, I might say mixed, but like, if you're Black, you still have Black in you. So like I do have a little white in me, but like, when a cop pulls me over, it won't be, oh, you have a little white, I'll let you go. It's, you have Black, so you're Black.
Wow. The Story, I'm gonna ask you a question that I don't know if you've been asked, at least publicly. Do you ever think about or wish that your parents raising you were Black or looked more like you?
No, because, that's a hard question. Oof.
Take your time.
No, because like, I love my parents the way they are, and like, I don't mind if they're white or Black because they're raising me and they love me, and really all I need is someone to love me and take care of me, and they're doing that totally fine.
How's that make y'all feel?
Well, I was like, I guess I wouldn't have cared if she would have said yes, that would have been real, but you know, it feels good to hear that.
That's awesome, Aaron.
Like it takes more time, more work, more heart, more soul on my part to make sure I love you guys in the right way as a good dad, because I don't know what it means to be Black. I never will.
I was asked another question via email, and this woman said, how can I parent my Black children? She's a white woman. How can I parent my Black children from wisdom rather than from fear? Jamie, how would you answer that?
It's so hard. It's so hard because my go-to is fear, like the worst thing. Like I would say I probably worry more about them than even Aaron does, because that's my tendency is to worry. So wisdom would be, man, educate, listen to Black people, listen. And a lot of white people just think, I don't need to listen. And I'm like, you have to listen.
Aaron, how would you add to that?
Fear comes from wanting to be comfortable. And what we realized in trying our best to parent Black kids is we have to be willing to be super uncomfortable in conversations, in what we're learning, in embracing our own history, and embracing the reality of the country we live in. Like, we have to be uncomfortable because we cannot parent in a wise way if we're just gonna try to be comfortable all the time.
Yeah.
So we embrace being uncomfortable.
Caden, now that in hearing this whole conversation, you walked in feeling one way. How do you feel just in hearing and in being a part of this dialogue?
I feel uncomfortable, which I want to go to my school and teach my friends about how to appreciate Black culture and how to have a better view on the world, because a lot of my friends don't have a good view.
Yeah.
And I can see that easily. lot of my friends just, they don't have any black friends. They don't have any black family. And since I do, I feel like it's my job to teach them about that and like teach them how to understand, I guess, their pain more and understand how to react to that.
Deacon?
Honestly, I really liked this conversation. Like, felt like it was good to have.
Why?
Just because, like, people don't know. Like Caden said, if you don't have black family members, black siblings, you don't know. And this is, like, just teaching people more.
Well, this conversation has made me feel encouraged. In closing, I was asked, Emmanuel, how do black people feel when you see a white family adopting black children? I can't speak for everybody, and I can't speak generically, but I can say personally, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that white parents choose to look beyond race and see love for exactly what it is, unconditional. But I will say, just make sure that you allow your black children to keep their black culture and their black heritage, and make sure you as parents, you keep and honor and acknowledge their black culture and heritage as well. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. If change is truly gonna come, you'll have to look beyond skin color, look beyond race, and look to love. We'll see y'all soon.